It's hard to convey to people how developer-friendly LimaCharlie is and what that means with what you can do on the platform. I had a little time over the weekend and wanted to see if I could build something fun to demonstrate how LimaCharlie will change the way that you think about cybersecurity tools and infrastructure. To do this, I wrote a little Python script that sends a random color value to my Phillip Hue smart lights every time a piece of telemetry comes in from one of the machines in my lab. In the script, you can see I load some parameters from a config file because we're careful not to commit any credentials into Git. And then down here, I initiate a couple objects required by the Hue SDK, and then here I initiate some things required by the LimaCharlie SDK. This little chunk of code here opens what we call a spout, which is essentially a live stream of telemetry over HTTPS. There's another method called the fire hose that allows you to listen directly on a port for syslog output, but it's a little more involved, and this implementation is more than enough for this demo. Once I have my spout, I listen inside of this while loop, and every time an event happens, I randomly set the color of my light. And this is what it looks like. This is super fun, and it has some disco flavor to it. But I think it'd be a lot cooler if we could actually do something useful. What I want to do is set things up so that I can alert myself by changing the lights when something happens on the endpoint that I should be concerned about. The average time it takes to action a response on the endpoint from when a detection is triggered is around 100 milliseconds on average, and I'm hoping this exercise will demonstrate that to you. The first thing we need to do is to write a detection rule to alert us when something we care about happens. To keep it simple, I'm just going to go ahead and create a rule that is triggered when somebody opens a text file on one of the machines in my lab. To do this, I'm going to create the detection right here in the web app. Everything in LimaCharlie can be done via the API, but this is the easiest way for what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm going to tell this rule to watch events of the type file access and then use the operator to detect when the type of file accessed is a text file. Next, what I'm going to do is set the response action, where the detection component can be thought of as sort of a Boolean evaluation. The response component is simply a list of actions that are executed when the detection is triggered. From here, you can kill a process tree, isolate the host from the network, initiate a full memory dump, fire alerts, you name it. For this example, I'm simply going to tag the endpoint as something I should be concerned about. If I want to, I can even give the tag a time to live. To watch for the tag, I'm just going to go back to the main while loop I have running in my script. All the telemetry in LimaCharlie is well-formatted JSON, which means I can start to parse this data object and look for the tag I set in the rule I just wrote. Every time a piece of telemetry comes through, I'm going to parse out the tags, loop through them, and then if I see one that I'm concerned about, I'm going to set my lights to be red, indicating that something is happening that requires my attention. I'm going to open a text file here on one of my test machines. And there we go. We opened the text file, the detection was fired, and then the telemetry came through the spout, and we sent a command to the Hue lights to change their color. Hopefully you had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. In the description of this video, I've included a link to a GitHub repo with a slightly more polished version of the code I demonstrated. If you end up using it to build anything cool, please let me know. The team at LimaCharlie loves talking to our users, and we love helping too. If you're stuck on anything or just want to know if something is possible, just shoot us a line. The best way to get plugged in is to join our community Slack, which I will link below as well. And I think that's it. Happy hunting.